Someone asks you a question in English. You know the answer. You know the words. You have studied this language for years. And yet, your mind goes blank. Your mouth won't open. The seconds pass, and the moment is gone. You walk away thinking the same thing you always think. Why can I not just speak? Welcome back to Gentle Wisdom. Today I want to tell you something important. Freezing is not a language problem. It is not a sign that your English is not good enough. And it is not your fault. It is a fear problem. And fear can be trained. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why you freeze, what is actually happening in your brain in those moments, and the one step that breaks the freeze starting today. So slow down, listen carefully, and let's begin. Lesson 1. Freezing is a fear response, not a language failure. Here is the first truth. When you freeze while speaking English, your brain is not failing. It is protecting you. Your brain reads the situation as a threat. The threat of judgment. The threat of embarrassment. The threat of saying something wrong in front of others. And when your brain detects a threat, it responds the same way it always has. It prepares you to fight, to run, or to freeze. You freeze. This response was designed for physical danger. A lion approaching, a sudden fall, a real threat to your survival. In those situations, freezing can save your life. But your brain cannot always tell the difference between a lion and a conversation in English. So it treats both as emergencies. And it shuts down your language processing to prepare for danger. This is not weakness. This is biology. Understanding this changes everything. Because the problem is not that you do not know enough English. The problem is that your brain has learned to treat English-speaking situations as dangerous. And what has been learned can be unlearned. Remember this. Freezing is a fear response, not a language failure. The English is there. The fear is blocking it. Lesson 2. Perfectionism is making the fear worse. Here is something most people do not realize. The desire to speak perfectly is one of the main causes of freezing. When you believe that every sentence must be correct, every word must be perfectly chosen, every grammar point must be flawless, you create an impossible standard. And when you cannot meet that standard, you say nothing at all. Silence feels safer than imperfection. But this logic is completely backwards. Imperfect speech builds fluency. Perfect silence builds nothing. The book The Courage to be Disliked by Ichiro Kishimi explores a powerful idea. The fear of judgment from others is one of the greatest limits on human freedom. When we make every decision based on how others will see us, we stop living for ourselves. This applies perfectly to language learning. When you refuse to speak imperfect English because of how it might sound to others, you are giving your power away. You are letting the imagined judgment of others control what you do. The uncomfortable truth is this. Most people are not judging your English as harshly as you imagine. They are thinking about themselves. They are relieved you are trying. They are rooting for you. The only person holding you to a perfect standard is you. Here is what works. Give yourself permission to speak imperfectly. An imperfect sentence spoken is worth 100 perfect sentences that stayed in your head. Lesson 3. The only way out is through. Here is what nobody wants to hear. You cannot think your way out of freezing. You cannot prepare your way out of freezing. The only way to stop freezing is to speak, even while frozen. Every time you avoid speaking because of fear, the fear grows stronger. Your brain receives confirmation that English speaking is dangerous. And next time, the freeze comes faster. Every time you speak despite the fear shrinks. Your brain receives new information. The danger was not real. The embarrassment was survivable. And next time, it is a little easier. There was a learner named Hannah. She had studied English for 4 years. She understood almost everything she heard. But she never spoke. Not in class. Not with foreigners. Not in any situation where she might be heard. The fear had grown so large that it had become her identity. I am not the kind of person who speaks English. Then one day, she decided to do one thing. She spoke one sentence to a tourist who looked lost. In English. Imperfectly. With a trembling voice. The tourist smiled and thanked her. That one sentence did not make her fluent, but it cracked something open. It showed her brain that speaking English was survivable, and the freeze, for the first time, lost some of its power. One sentence. That was all it took to begin. Start here. Today, speak one English sentence out loud. To anyone, even to yourself. Break the silence once. Lesson 4. Courage is a muscle. Train it. Here is the final truth. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is speaking while afraid. And like every other skill, it grows with practice. Every time you speak English despite the fear, you are training courage. Every time you say the imperfect sentence instead of the perfect silence, you're building something. Every uncomfortable conversation is a training session. The freeze does not disappear all at once. It shrinks slowly, with every act of courage. Think about who you want to be 1 year from now. Someone who stayed silent because they were afraid, or someone who spoke, stumbled, recovered, and became more fluent with every conversation? The path to that second version of you begins with one sentence today. Not a perfect sentence. Not a brave sentence. Just a sentence. In English. Spoken out loud. Freezing is not your fault, but staying frozen is a choice. Today, choose differently. Train your mind and keep becoming.